Okay, Mr. Snook, I've had a hell of a day. What are you making me tonight?
I think it's time for old fashions.
What is an old-fashioned?
Old fashioned is like the OG cocktail. It's been old fashioned since like 1880. They invented the cocktail, it got too fancy. Some people didn't like it too fancy. They said, give me one of them, but old fashioned. And it stuck. So that's what we're going to do.
This is the one Don Draper drinks, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Don Draper famously does that. It's there's one where he reaches over a bar at a party and mixes them up for everybody and is a big hero. So it's got a little bit of, cachet, but it's really very simple drink. So I'm gonna get started.
You don't have your shaker. I
No,
noticed.
this one we're gonna make straight in the glass.
Oh.
You can make it in another glass and then pour it in here, but this is the sort that you can just do straight in. Starts with sugar. This is one of these ones from the days when the booze didn't taste so good, so you would want to juice it up. Lump sugar is probably more traditional. Who has that these days? The key ingredient, apart from the spirit, is bitters. I got Angostura bitters here. Very traditional again.
What actually is bitters?
It's just bitter stuff in a tincture, like in alcohol. Funny roots and leaves and berries, and it's all secret ingredients, but tastes good. And put 2 of those. And I've also got a little orange bitters. Old fashioned is something you can kind of play with and make to your taste. I like a little extra orange flavor, so I just put in a dash of that guy as well. And then it takes a minute to dissolve this. You don't have to dissolve it all the way. There's sort of some people who like to have a little bit of really sweet in the bottom of their drink. I don't, so I'm going to also just put in a dash of water. Helps it dissolve. And yeah.
I've seen people make very fancy old fashions these days.
Oh yeah, like I said, you can play with it, and some people take it too far, and then you're back into that territory of is it really an old fashioned anymore?
So you're not putting say bacon in yours?
No, the fat washing is the thing. I had a beef fat Manhattan one time. It was actually not too bad. I also tried to make a bacon old fashioned for myself. It was terrible. So I just I stick with the basics. Stick with it simple. This is mostly about the spirit. You want to put a decent whiskey in this, and I don't want to mess with that too much. All right, I think that's good enough. I'm gonna add some ice. You don't put the ice in first, because otherwise you'll never get the sugar dissolved.
Now I understand you've got some special ice for us tonight.
I do. A drink like this deserves some feature ice, so I've got big ice sphere.
How in the world did you make that?
I made that with this contraption. I've tried these smaller ones for making round ice before. Doesn't work very well. I mean, it makes round ice, but it's always kind of cloudy and cracked and doesn't look great. Some people say you boil the water, filter the water, and it helps. It doesn't. What you got to do is use something like this, which is what they call directional freezing. So only the top half of this is actual ice mold. You fill it up with water and you put this in, and then you freeze it, and because it's insulated, it freezes from the top down, and you stop it when it's below the level of the spheres, and you pull them out, and all of the gases and the impurities and stuff in the water have been pushed out through a little hole in the bottom, and they're all in the liquid that's left. It does take about 30 hours in my freezer, and you get 2 ice balls out of the end. So it's kind of fancy, but I think it's totally worth it because it looks cool.
Looks cool in that glass. Fancy glass?
That is an old-fashioned glass. It's a double old-fashioned glass. We're not making a double old-fashioned, but the big ice, is kind of a new fashion for old-fashions. Whiskey. Rye is very traditional here. Anything with a good sort of bold flavor. I've got some bourbon, which is not, it's not too different from rye. I mean, usually American whiskey. So you could try this with a Scotch if you like, but American whiskey is traditional. And you want to put a good dose in here, an ounce and a half or 2, depending on how thirsty you are. And just give that a little stir. Mix up the sugar. roll it around a bit. And of course, garnish. Orange zest is the traditional garnish. Some people put like a cherry, but I think that's really for Manhattans. I like my orange. Some people would set fire to this. I don't want to burn down the house, so I'm just going to put it in straight. A nice big twist. Fresh, good fresh orange washed because it's got garbage on the outside. But if it's fresh, then when you squeeze the peel like this, the oil comes out, and that's what you really want. Just put a switch around, and you can put it in or you can not put it in. I think traditionally they served old fashions with the spoon that they'd stirred it with inside. That's kind of not done anymore. You can put the rind in or out. I like it in, and I think that's us done.
Brilliant. For me?
No, this one's for me.